Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 298. Your weekly get-together, we talk about recent gaming news. I'm as always your host, Steve Brand. Joining me today is...
I'm David.
Tonight, David. Nintendo dropped a whole mess of announcements with their recent Direct while taking away eShop support for a couple of their older systems. Capcom teases some mysterious countdown, which I'm sure won't be total disappointment at all, and the normal rigmarole of the week that we will go through, of course. But first, I want everyone here to know this is an audience interactive podcast. So if you're watching us live here at Twitch TV/GamePoints or later over at YouTube.com/GamePointsPC, feel free to join in the conversation with any questions, comments, concerns, etc. you might have. Just try to keep them germane to the topics on hand. David.
Yes.
As I've been tending to opening the past few shows, have you seen anything interesting in the gaming world you want to mention? Anything you've been playing? Anything you've been fiddling around with?
Let's see. Still haven't finished God of War.
Okay.
So I'm slow at video games, and I'm in a fairly open part of the game, and I'm having difficulty forcing myself to just play story, which is what I need to do in order to finish it.
That's what derailed me from finishing Red Dead Redemption 2 for 4 years, so don't feel bad.
Yeah, and I'm trying to not take 4 years to beat that game. But I started playing Apex Legends again. That game's still fun. I was thinking about playing Titanfall 2 because I missed that game so much, and then I realized that I had to reinstall Origin to do it, so I said screw it, just played Apex.
And even if you go through Game Pass, I believe it still forces you to install Origin as well.
Yeah, it does. So that was kind of a bummer. But one thing that I wanted, because we're not really talking about it at all on the show today, I am actively updating Cyberpunk.
The 1.5 patch did come out. It's stealth released today.
There was a lot of rumors and hearsay, and we kind of knew it was coming, but we didn't know exactly when.
Right. From what I understand, I am still holding off on that because I've heard some random rumors that it might be bricking PlayStations.
That's fair. I play it on Xbox, so.
I will say that is unconfirmed rumor, so it could just be people having other issues, or it could be people making shit up. I don't know, which is why I don't have it in the notes here or anything like that. But it is one of those things I still look at and go, okay, cool, keep going.
I'm excited to go back.
Yeah, you had fun with Cyberpunk, if I recall.
Yeah, I think the story is good. I enjoy the world. It's everything outside of the main quest that was garbage, and that's what's gotten a lot of attention. The patch was 60 gigs.
I will go back to that game one day, by the way, but at the moment, I still have so many other things that I can do that's at the bottom priority. That is now in the when I have nothing else to play category.
Yeah. For me, it's literally a game that I already own until a certain game drops later this month.
Yeah, and we'll probably talk about that soon enough, I'm sure. Maybe not today, now that I look at the notes, but
soon.
Yeah. It's going to come down the chimney and murder you, is what it does. Miyazaki drops down the chimney every one of these releases, sees you there, hands you this shiny little golden flask, and goes... Better start drinking as he murders you in your living room in front of your children.
Wow. Harsh.
Yeah, well, but fair. I've played two things recently. One of them, huge. Now one of the most concurrently played Steam games of all time, and that's Lost Ark.
Oh, I actually played that too. It's shit.
Yeah, boring as hell. I played it for an hour, and I was bored to fucking tears. And I love that genre, by the way.
I'll let you continue, or if you don't have anything else. But I have a story for it. It's pretty quick.
All I wanted to mention is I played it for an hour or so, and I have never been so bored by a game in my entire life.
Okay, so we know that I don't really play MMOs, but everyone kept telling me it was an ARPG because I didn't bother to look it up, and I was like, okay, cool. I like Path of Exile. I like Diablo. I like these kinds of games, so let's do it. It's not an ARPG. It's just an MMO. It's got very flashy moves, but loot doesn't drop. Right? As a thing. I don't have I'm not picking up incrementally better shinies, so I don't have that gameplay hook, and then the combat itself wasn't crazy interesting.
It takes the worst parts of both genres and fuses them together in something that's already feels dated.
Now here's the thing. Years ago, I installed the Lineage 2 mobile game on my phone.
Yeah, I remember for a hot second you were playing that.
Reminds me quite a lot of this game. However, the Lineage game was better with one specific reason. There was a auto walk / auto quest button that took all of the filler parts of the game, where you talk to somebody, go kill 10 of these, and then come back, and just automated it. Your character would run up to the character, get the quest, run to where the things are, automatically use abilities on cooldowns so you killed enough things that he could run back. You automatically use a potion if you got below a certain percentage of life, like you would set it. And the only time you needed to really worry about it is you came back to the game to check all your loot, assign all your skill points, and then if you had to go into a dungeon or fight a boss, you needed to play.
Okay.
And it was awesome because it was only the fun parts. And so I played that game way more than I should because my phone would just be playing for me while I was at work. Like it was literally
Just
in a
doing
drawer.
out the grinding.
Just grinding. And then if it didn't have any active quests because I needed to do a boss, it would just be standing in a field just killing mobs. So it was kind of perfect.
That
for me
sounds
in
more
way.
entertaining than this game. Like I said, I do not get why Lost Ark has 1 million people playing it. This game feels extremely astroturfed.
I feel like Amazon spent a lot on marketing, maybe, and that this is going to have
a
a significant player drop off. Maybe not as bad as their last game, New World, but that's only because this game's already been out for like 2 or 3 years and it is fairly polished. So the people that do like this loop will keep playing, but I don't think that many people.
My
like
gut tells me the only reason why this many people popped in is because Amazon went up to like the 50 top streamers of out there and went, "Hey, here's some money. Play this game for us."
Yeah.
That it feels aggressively marketed, and this massive concurrent player base feels fake as hell. Stuff into what you welcome to the chat. They're saying the Ixion trailer that dropped yesterday looks great. Looks like Homeworld meets Factorio. Music sounds like it's the same composer for BioShock's previous turn game, Warhammer 40k Mechanicus. Mechanicus is surprisingly good. It's not great, but it is good, but the soundtrack is amazing. I did see that Ixion trailer. It looks really fucking cool if you're into those genres. But
I have not seen that trailer, but Homeworld meets Factorio sounds real good.
Yeah, take a look at it. Take a look at it, David. You might enjoy it.
Real good. Ooh,
that
boy.
said, if those are 2 games that you hate, this is going to bounce right off of you and hard. Rocco, good to have you as well. The other game that I played before we get into the news is this. It's amazing because this is essentially someone took the idea behind Simon's Quest and modernized it. And it's a game called Infernax.
Okay, on our new release list.
It is on our new release list. It technically came out yesterday. It's on Game Pass right now if you want to take a look at it. I've been playing it. You can see some old videos on demand if you want to take a look at those as well. It's not, I don't want to oversell it because it's not great. It's not like Messenger good or anything like that. But it is really, really entertaining. If you like the old classic style games, I'd recommend you take a look at it. People keep saying that it is brutally hard. I don't find that to be the case. I find like a lot of the bosses have the same problems old Nintendo bosses used to, where you could kind of just face tank them if you knew where to hit them. I'm running into that. But one thing that is in there is that if you die, you go back to like your last save point, not a checkpoint. So if you're deep in a dungeon and not coming back out to save, you can get knocked back. Unless, there is an unless button, you can choose a what's called casual restart, which kind of just takes away some money and experience and puts you closer to where you died. But I've been trying to play it on the way it was meant to be played.
That's fun.
Not to sound overly hard. I saw you. So one of the people who were watching me in stream says they saw me die 5 times in 5 seconds. That is fair because there are some really annoying platforming parts to it that have an instant kill if you miss. But most of the game is not that hard. This is not, and I'm not saying it's not hard. It is difficult. But if you go in here thinking it's like Sekiro or like people or Neo, people are really overselling the difficulty of this game. It is hard, but it's not extremely hard.
Fair.
And if you like that kind of classic style pixel game, if you love the old Nintendo stuff that you've been seeing a revival of, like the Messenger is the closest thing I can think of that would come to this. But think more Ninja Gaiden, more.
Did you play
Simon's
Cyber
Quest.
Shadow?
I have not played Cyber Shadow yet. I'm told that's amazing.
Cyber Shadow is probably in the same vein where it's decently hard. It's a fucking old arcade game. Like you'll die a lot until you learn the systems.
I wouldn't even say it's learning the systems on this. It's just I can see why it's frustrating because it has that. I think Ninja Gaiden is a comparable comparison to it, not the Xbox Ninja Gaiden, Nintendo Ninja Gaiden. Because if you get hit by an enemy, there is the knockback, and the knockback can knock you to someone else, which then knocks you into the pit and you die. that shit can be frustrating. There are some frustrating moments to it, but difficulty, I don't know if I would say. But that I love Infernax. I'm really into it. It's not a great game, but it is a damn good game, and it is on Game Pass if you want to take a look at that.
All right. Well, I think that's the longest precursor to a show we've had in a while.
Yeah, I really just kind of wanted to rag on Lost Ark a bit, because I don't get how 1 million people can be playing this thing at the same time, because I don't understand it. It's not even fine. I think it's boring as hell.
I mean, there's people that like that, and there hasn't been a new MMO in a long time, and this one's free. So I feel like people that really like MMOs maybe like it, but that's not me.
Yeah, I'm in your camp. I think there's going to be a massive player drop off on this. I think it's just the new hotness because all the famous people are playing it right now.
I thought it was going to be an ARPG. After playing it, I was like, I should reinstall Dawngate.
Yeah, I just kind of want when I finished playing it, I just wanted to reinstall Grim Dawn. Ninja Wolf, I am doing fine. Thank you very much.
That's actually what I meant. Dawngate is a canceled EA MOBA from like 10 years ago.
You meant Grim Dawn.
Yes, I 100% meant Grim Dawn.
Fair enough.
Game names.
Let's go ahead and move on to the news here, because
as we do,
segues are not what we are known for. I want to talk about the Nintendo Direct that happened last week, but first, before we get into it, I want to mention this thing that Nintendo just kind of dropped on us all of a sudden. This happened about 30 minutes ago. Nintendo announced that as of late March 2023, it will no longer be possible to make Nintendo eShop purchases for the Wii U and the 3DS family of systems.
Look at that. They didn't beat Sony to the punch of being completely brain-dead idiots, but they'll probably beat them to actually pulling the trigger.
Yes, and I did enjoy that, by the way, Ninja Wolf. Thank you for mentioning that. Starting May 23rd on 2020, it will no longer be possible to use a credit card to add a fund to a 3DS or Wii U eShop account. Starting August 29th of 2022, it will no longer be possible to use the eShop card to add funds to the 3DS or Wii U eShop account. It will, however, be possible to redeem download codes up to March 2023. So if you're sitting on like one of those eShop cards and haven't used it, and you need to use it now because it's coming. The end is coming. After March 2023, users will be able to re-download content they own and download existing software updates. So it's going to be a tiered shutdown, but if you own a game on there, you should still be able to download it. However, given that it's Nintendo, who knows how long before the entire eShop is fully shut down, because I believe the eShop is different than what Nintendo currently has for the Switch.
Time to look into cracking a 3DS.
Now, for those of you who are worried that your games might disappear or you might not be able to play 3DS games again, what if you never got around to playing something classic or Zombie U on the Wii U and you wanted to give that game a shot again for some reason, but you never really got around to playing it? Nintendo has no plans to offer classic content in other ways. So do not expect these eShop sales to go over to whatever's on the Switch right now.
They never fucking have.
No. This is the hilarious part, though. Nintendo believes the Switch Online membership plans are an effective way to make old content available.
This is completely unacceptable. Fuck Nintendo. Fuck everything they stand for. Fuck them and the horse they rode in on. This is absolute, just fucking stupid and so against game preservation that it boils my blood.
Even Sony backed the fuck off of doing this when people bitched about it hard enough on the PlayStation 3. But this is Nintendo we're talking about. They don't care.
Yeah, and they're just going to do it. It doesn't matter how many people complain. Remember when Nintendo straight up released a limited edition, digital-only fucking Mario package that was a bunch of old Mario video games that you can no longer buy? You cannot purchase a digital product because they decided to artificially add scarcity to it.
Yeah,
that's the Nintendo that we've been giving unlimited faith and love to.
I completely forgot about that, by the way, which is I blanked out there. I was like, shit, they did do that, and I was trying to
they did
recall the
They did it twice.
Just that comment that they believe the Nintendo Switch Online membership plans are an effective way to make classic content available. David, how long has the Switch Online been out? 4 years now?
Probably.
How many fucking games are actually on that?
I think 18.
It might be a little bit more.
It's more than that because they added N64.
But I get your point.
It's less than 100.
It's less than 1% of the Nintendo catalog, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
It is a fucking crime that this has happened. They still
They
don't
still
even
just have unlimited goodwill, and they'll be able to get away with it because it doesn't matter, because they'll release Breath of the Wild 2 and it'll sell 8 million copies.
They still don't have every Nintendo published game, Nintendo produced game on there.
No, not even close.
No, the online membership is not an effective way to make classic content available. However, unfortunately for Nintendo, that system, particularly when you go back a few generations, if you're looking at NES, Super Nintendo, hell, even Nintendo 64, maybe even 3DS. Unfortunately for Nintendo, there is a very efficient and easy way to obtain their entire catalog. I will not get into details of it here. Let's take a look at chat, because a lot of people are blowing this up here real quick. Watermelon says, quick, everyone buy the Metroids in the Wii U and the 3DS. That is probably something you would want to consider doing, considering that Metroid Prime Trilogy still doesn't exist in any actual way other than buying an old used copy of it or going down the aforementioned route earlier. Rocco says, offered backwards compatibility. As we established, Nintendo does not care about backwards compatibility. They have no sense of respect for their back catalog at all, which is it is fucking ridiculous. No, I can't let you down easy. No, I don't have a pillow for you to land on, unfortunately. Sorry about that one. Stuffy Twitchy in chat says, when my Steam Deck arrives, my Switch is going to straight to dust gathering basement storage, storing my original Super Nintendo, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and Xbox consoles. And you know what's going to be funny about that? You'll be able to play all those games on your Steam Deck.
Yes, including all these ones that Nintendo is making no longer available.
We have talked about piracy before in the past, and I am not encouraging anyone to go out and pirate and break the law and do anything illegal.
I am actively encouraging everyone to pirate.
That is not the official GamePoints stance. David Smith does not speak for myself, GamePoints Incorporated, GamePoints Limited, GamePoints LLC, or GamePoints Overseas.
He's never filed any of the paperwork for any of that to stick.
Once again, David does not speak for... This is one of those things, though, where we've talked about piracy, and both in your opinion and in mine, piracy is driven not because people don't have the money to play something, but because of ease of use. So when Nintendo makes things harder to access than it is to just pirate them, what do you think people are going to do? You know the answer to that. There is a story related to Nintendo piracy, which we will get on. In fact, we'll get on it later in the story because it's a minor story, but I do want to get into it. That wasn't the only Nintendo news I want to talk about, though. Let's go ahead and go on to the Nintendo Direct, because despite us kicking Nintendo in the balls a couple times, they do have some... They did announce some shit that I'm kind of excited for. To go back to your comment of how they'll just get infinite goodwill by announcing more footage of Breath of the Wild again.
Like, they already have things that I'm excited to play, even though I'm fucking pissed at them.
Yeah, and I'm really, really pissed off about it, too. But we're hypocrites. What can we say?
Maybe you are, bro. I have not bought a Nintendo game since they released that fucking Mario collection.
But you did buy that Mario collection.
No, I did not.
Oh, then you bought it. Did you buy games even back before the Mario collection?
I did buy games before the Mario collection.
Okay.
To be fair, I bought a Vita, and I just completely stopped playing my Switch. Because there's a lot of really good games on the Vita, and it had an OLED long before the Switch OLED came out.
That's very true. Let's talk about this Nintendo Direct here. Now, if you guys want a comprehensive view of a Nintendo Direct, I recommend you take a look at it, or look at it. It's only 40 minutes long. It is focused on titles in the first half of the year, by the way. We do not do full comprehensive coverage on it. We'll mention a lot of the stuff very briefly, but there are a couple things I want to focus on, starting with Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. This is the latest in Nintendo properties that is getting the Musou treatment from the Dynasty Warriors team. You have like Hyrule Warriors, you have Persona Strikers, which actually isn't.
I feel like there was already a Fire Emblem
Switch,
Warriors.
take that back.
Is this just like a sequel?
There is a Fire Emblem Warriors.
Okay.
This is, rather than just being a bunch of Fire Emblem characters thrown together, like say Samurai Warriors, this is specifically focused on Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
Got it. Cool. So they're going to limit the scope so you don't get as many characters.
And to be fair, I know that Persona Strikers is not a Nintendo property. It's just I was literally playing that before I came onto the show, so I have that in my head.
That's fair.
This is going to be kind of a retelling of the Fire Emblem 3 Houses game. And I think that
in the Musou format?
Yeah, and it's perfect for a Musou format because there are 3 factions. There's a war going on between all 3 of them. There's a shit ton of fodder you can wipe through. So it makes perfect sense. This makes sense.
That tracks.
Advance Wars 1 and 2 reboot camp rather. They showed some footage of this. This looks amazing. I'm super excited to play because Advance Wars 1 and 2 were great.
True that.
They're adding a bunch of new voice acting to it, and more importantly, they're adding a rewind button to it because there's nothing that pissed me off more than misclicking somewhere and then realizing I just fucked up 50 minutes of a mission toward the end there that I have to now restart from the beginning. No, thank you. So I'm glad to see that. No Man's Sky, everyone's favorite comeback story, is going to be actually everyone's second favorite comeback story. I think Final Fantasy XIV is everyone's favorite comeback story. That's coming to the Switch summer 2022. Mario Strikers is going to have a new soccer game showing up, 5v5, coming June 10th.
League.
This one caught me off guard.
This one's directly into our hearts.
Yes. Caught me off guard, though I heard rumors of it coming.
They watched our show and said, you know what? For those guys.
Front Mission 1 and 2 are getting remade, with Front Mission 1 coming late this summer, Front Mission 2 happening sometime in the future. Now, if you don't know what Front Mission is, it is a strategy role-playing game, but rather than in a fantasy setting, it is in a near future with mechs.
There's mechs. You can punch other mechs. It's a tactics game with giant fighting robots, people. 2 of my favorite things.
This excites me, and I'll get into reasons why as we go down on this, because there's a couple of these that get dropped.
I love Front Mission purely for a gameplay perspective. I think it's incredible. You love Front Mission because it's got your Ace Combat level batshit fucking story.
Absolutely, Front Mission. It's Front Mission 3 is by far my favorite of the series. Now that was on PlayStation, so I don't necessarily know if they would be able to bring that out, but they're all connected. This isn't like Final Fantasy where it's a different universe every time. The Front Mission games take place in a very detailed timeline of about, I think, 20 years over the course of all 4 or 5, I think 5 main games. I don't think the 5th one came over here. And it's really, really good. It's Front Mission 3 specifically, its plot is up there with like Final Fantasy Tactics when it comes to the political intrigue.
Yeah, for sure.
And I never really played Front Mission 1 or 2, and I'm hoping these remakes, and they are remakes, they are not remasters like something else we're going to talk about. They are remakes, and I'm definitely looking forward to getting a hold of them. Let's take a look at chat here real quick. No, Rocco, it's not another Gundam game. The other Gundam game is something else. It's like a super deformed Gundam game coming out. Kyle Rittenhouse 22 is asking when are we guys going to stop the genocide in Darfur. I don't know. I guess when we grow tired of it.
Yeah, I don't know. When people do things, I guess.
Yeah. Rock Bogart in chat mentions don't forget Left Alive rather. I wish I could forget Left Alive. That game was god awful. Don't play Left Alive. I was really excited for it too. Left Alive was the survival game that came out when you're supposed to be playing
like spin-off.
Yeah, it was a spin-off survival game where you're just a human trying to get the hell out of a city that's being attacked by giant mechs. That sounds awesome on paper.
Yeah, no, that game could have been so amazing. And keep in mind that the art was the Metal Gear Solid guy.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
I'm really bad at names, but I remember all the art for that game looks fucking awesome.
So hopefully Front Mission gets some love here soon. Going on back to the Nintendo Direct here real quick. Force Unleashed and Assassin's Creed, the Ezio Collection, and Portal 1 and 2 are all getting ports for it. I think the Assassin's Creed Collection is this week, in fact. Chrono Cross is getting a remaster.
Did not expect this.
No, but we should have, and I'll tell you why in a second. This is not a remake, by the way. It's coming with the Radical Dreamers visual novel. Now, for those who don't know, Radical Dreamers was this visual novel that was released before Chrono Cross came out that ties together Chrono Trigger to Chrono Cross. It's like the bridge connecting two stories, and it was released in Japan only. Rock Bogart, thank you very much. That artist's name is Yoji Shinkawa, so thank you very much. David, the reason why we should have known that this Chrono Cross remaster is coming out is because it was announced in what has to be now the official biggest leak ever in video games, and that was that Nvidia leak that happened a few months ago. And I think at this point, we can officially confirm that most of that list is happening because a lot of that was on there is coming true, including some of the more far-fetched shit like this Chrono Cross remaster, which I thought was just insane. So for those who might not know what this Nvidia leak was, type in Nvidia leak in Google, take a look at it. Essentially, someone was able to get into
a bunch of leaked games. If you don't want to know about spoilers, though, they're probably all spoilers.
Someone was able to get into the back end of the NVIDIA's GeForce thing, and they were able to see all these entries that people have uploaded for upcoming games. Mm-hmm. So that way they just have the entry in there so they can start putting the graphical support on there and all that stuff. I don't know the exact details of it, but
there is one specifically that I really want to spoil because of how fucking excited I'd be for it, even though their last game left me sad.
Well, a lot of this stuff has been confirmed. For example, we had like Crysis 4 confirmed. We had all of PlayStation's porting of their stuff over to PC has now since been confirmed. At least a lot of it has, not all of it. But what I want to take a look at is some of the other stuff that was in this Nvidia leak that hasn't come true yet, but now that I think all of it's going to happen. For example, a Half-Life 2 Remastered was listed on here. A Final Fantasy IX Remake. Final Fantasy Tactics Remaster. Mad Max 2 was on that list, and now there are more rumors that Mad Max 2 is happening as of today. I remember seeing that. Kingdom Hearts 4. Tactics Ogre Remaster. XCOM 3. Endless Legend 2. Street Fighter 6. I want to highlight
gloss over it. Man, I want to talk about Endless Legend 2. I fucking love Endless Legend.
I want to put a special focus on Street Fighter 6 because I think we're going to get an announcement on that soon as well before the week's over with, quite honestly. Batman Arkham Knight Remaster. Injustice 3 Gods Are Fall. This is all bun butt confirmed at this point. Same with Mortal Kombat 12 due to leaks and various other things. City Skyline 2, Metal Gear Solid 2 Sons of Liberty, Snake Eater 3, or Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. There are all these games that I thought might not be happening, but actually might now be happening because of this fucking Chrono Cross remaster.
Potentially. It all could still be placeholders or rumors or whatever, so we can't guarantee any of that.
All right.
But it's pretty likely. Remember that time Walmart leaked a bunch of stuff? Or like Walmart Canada or whatever it was?
This Nvidia leak is going to go down as the biggest video game leak ever in history. Up to this point. Who knows? We might get everything. I mean, there's some big ones. There's that one time some guy hacked into Capcom and released their upcoming 5 years of video games. But it's definitely something to look at, and I wanted to mention that Nvidia leak because of the Chrono Cross remaster. Anyways, I've been rambling on enough. Back to
moving on, we got to talk about Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which looks fucking awesome.
Truly horrifying. There are some people in chat talking about how there's some serious body horror with the fact that he doesn't really eat it. He just kind of eats half of it, and it sticks out of his mouth, and he becomes it.
Yeah, Kirby Carr is great.
That said,
definitely not nightmarish at all to think about.
That said, I do like a Kirby game. I'm looking forward to playing this March 25th. I wanted to mention MLB The Show 2022 as well on this stream. Not necessarily because I'm a baseball fan, not because baseball on the Switch means anything. The biggest takeaway from here is there is a PlayStation Studios logo on the physical copy of a Nintendo Switch game.
Wow.
That's just odd to me, and I wanted to call it out. This is what excites me the most. Not because of what it is, but because of what it heralds.
Yes.
Live Alive remake. Now, do you know what Live Alive is, David?
Isn't it Live Alive?
It could be either. I don't know.
Maybe it's Live Alive.
Live Alive.
Live Alive.
It's Live Alive. This was a Square. This was an Enix or Square. Either way, it's a Square Enix game that came out on Super Nintendo, but never saw an American release ever. This was considered an amazing role-playing game where you play 9 separate stories throughout various periods in time, and they're all interconnected with each other. Unlike Octopath Traveler, which only kind of had like a tertiary connection to each other, those
characters had nothing to do with each other.
These have more of a direct connection to each other. It was very beloved, but never saw a U.S. release. Now it's finally getting released in America with the Octopath treatment, by the way. It's going to do that weird HD 2D, I think is what they call it, even though it's not really 2D. This is launching July 22nd. And if they're going back and remaking, not remastering, remaking Live Alive, that means anything is on the table now in the Square Enix back catalog. That means we could get Xenogears. That means we can get Final Fantasy VI in the Octopath engine. That means, God forbid, they give me the Terranigma Blazer trilogy. They gave me ActRaiser already. But please, for the love of God, give me Soul Blazer, Illusion of Gaia, and Terranigma all together. Because you're already going down that road.
Oh, boy. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Everything is on the table now. All of it. And I am super excited, not for Live Alive, but for what Live Alive Remake potentially hints at in the future.
So, like,
go ahead.
Live Alive.
Live Alive.
Live Alive sounds funnier to me.
I don't know how it's actually pronounced.
Live Alive.
I hate that English uses the same word with different pronunciations sometimes. It pisses me right off. Yeah, Bahamut Lagoon could be on here. Treasure Hunter G. I don't know about Treasure Hunter G, but I appreciate where you're coming from there, Rock Bogard. To round things out, we also had Nintendo Switch Sports announced. Finally, the Nintendo Switch is getting its Wii Sports equivalent. It's coming out April 29th. Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings out now. By the way, for those who don't know, Earthbound Beginnings is essentially the first Mother game, not Mother 2, which is what Earthbound is. So for Nintendo and Super Nintendo Mothers. Mario Kart 8 gets a massive DLC expansion. That's going to be 48 tracks from previous games. It is included as part of that Switch Online expansion pack, by the way. And then finally, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 officially announced for September 2022. It's supposed to tie in the first two Xenoblade Chronicles even more. There is a tertiary connection between. It's not even tertiary. It's like there is a connection between the two games. It's just kind of weird. This third game is supposed to tie them both together a little bit closer. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Cool.
Is there anything on there that you were willing to call up besides Front Mission there, David? I know I've talked about this Nintendo for about 30 minutes at this point. We need to kind of dial it back a little bit.
No, it's just Front Mission. That's the only thing I care about. I want to play those Front Mission games because they look awesome, and I love me some Front Mission because I like both tactics games and giant robots, which is why most of the time when you ask me what I'm playing, I just say BattleTech.
Stuffy Twitchy in chat says they want to take a look at No Man's Sky just to see how Hello Games was able to put that universe into a portable midway through its sales lifespan. Yeah, I kind of do. I've never played No Man's Sky. Well, I take that back. I have played No Man's Sky, but I've never sat down with it for more than like 30 minutes.
I played it 4 separate times. When it came out, I played it for a bit, and then I played it once a year, every year after its release.
It's amazing how the game's just improved over the years, though, isn't it? Pretty
sure it's been 4 years. So I think I've played it 4 times. I don't know if that's actually 4 sessions.
I do want to see how that works on the Switch, though. I think it would be just fine on the Switch, personally. David, why don't you go ahead and take us through this weird AI presentation Sony gave last week?
So we mentioned this in the last show that there was going to be a Sony weird kind of not really direct announcement thing relating to Gran Turismo. And that ended up being Gran Turismo Sophy, an AI breakthrough in a partnership with Polyphony Digital and Sony AI. They created something a little ridiculous. So they refined the AI using Gran Turismo Sport and code from Gran Turismo 7 in a way that's not like traditional game AI. They applied actually some of the same logics that they use for the ones they taught to play like chess and Go and Othello, where it's really kind of machine learning to become more than regular code. And they've made AI drivers that work in Gran Turismo 7 using the Sophy engine that are insane. Like, put them in races against the best Gran Turismo Sport players in the world. The first few times I did it, they were losing by a little bit. Then they were winning by a little bit. Then they were winning by a lot. And it's not cheating. It's not reading inputs. It's not cutting you off. It's driving safely and within all racing rules, regulations. But they've become insane, and they're fine-tunable.
That's fascinating to me, because so many racing games rely on rubber banding to kind of keep things competitive.
And like weird kind of cheating things. So it could potentially have ramifications for other things, but it's entirely possible they just did this whole project just to jam like the world's most sophisticated racing game AI into Gran Turismo 7. I can't tell you either way, but it's really cool and kind of technical, and if you're interested, you can take a look at it. We'll throw it in our notes and on the Discord later.
Watermelon Chat says one step closer to Skynet. I don't know if we're necessarily at that point,
If all Skynet could do was drive virtual cars, 100%.
I did hear a little bit about this. I am not a Gran Turismo guy, though, so I will fully admit, as I was watching this presentation, I was just doing other things. But it sounds like they're doing some cool shit. And Sony AI, as we talked about last week, is its own division in Sony.
Yes, they do lots of things.
I didn't know they had that until last week, so that's a little bit disturbing. All right, let's move on to this next topic here. We mentioned this briefly already, but let's get a little bit deeper into it. And that's Capcom's mysterious countdown that's going on here. Now, for those who don't know, Capcom has this website up and running right now. It just says Capcom. It's at capcomgames.com/countdown. And it is, well,
Classic.
A countdown. Currently, right now, it says 5 days, 1 hour. And there have been a shit ton of rumors about this. It is clearly counting down to something that's going to get revealed on February 20th. The initial wave of rumors was that this is going to be some Resident Evil shit, because that is some Resident Evil font if you look at it. It has like that Resident Evil 7, 8
I think it's just
on there.
Capcom font at this point. It kind of looks like the Monster Hunter font to me.
It could be. I'm not reading too much into it, but that's kind of what the first initial guesses were. Then you had a whole bunch of people saying that they looked at the code for the page and they saw things saying Microsoft is going to be buying Capcom. That shit is completely fake. Do not believe it. Any company that would put that on their webpage for a business deal of that significant
real dumb.
Real fucking dumb. There's no way in hell that would happen. What is likely, however, is that since this expires on February 20th, that syncs up with Street Fighter Pro Tour season final happening.
Yes. So it's most likely going to be Street Fighter 6.
Add to the fact that I wanted to bring up that Nvidia leak specifically because in that Nvidia leak was Street Fighter 6.
Or maybe they're going to do a Nintendo and it's going to be Street Fighter 5 Ultimate DLC and they're going to have 48 fighters from previous games.
On that, by the way, on that Nintendo
DLC for the next 3 years.
Nintendo. On that Nvidia leak, by the way, was like a Street Fighter Turbo Championship Edition something for the Switch as well. Forgive me, I don't know its full name, but it was Street Fighter, a shit ton of...
Hyper Turbo Championship Edition?
Yeah, something like that for Switch. I remember seeing that on the Nvidia list as well. So they could be announcing both of those. But if I had to venture a guess, this is Street Fighter related, or it's Street Fighter related as well as other things. But given the fact that its timing is ending with the Street Fighter Pro Tour season final, I think we can safely say it's Street Fighter.
Yeah, probably.
Next up, David, you want to lead this one? Because this one's in your wheelhouse.
Yeah, time to be sad again, friends. In a story from Engadget, the Dark Souls multiplayer features will not return until after the release of Elden Ring. Dark Souls fans on PC will have to wait until after the release of Elden Ring before developer From Software reactivates player versus player servers, which, if you don't know, is all of the multiplayer in those games. The announcement comes after a hacker identified a vulnerability within Dark Souls 3 that allowed them to access the computers of multiple streamers remotely. When news of the exploit first broke, From Software and Dark Souls series publisher Bandai Namco shut down the multiplayer servers of Dark Souls 3, Dark Souls 2, and Dark Souls to investigate the issue. Sidebar, this also happened to be occurring right when I was replaying through Dark Souls 3, completely on my timeline to finish all 3 games in an all-bosses run before Elden Ring, but whatever.
I was going to ask about that, how badly that fucked
destroyed it. Destroyed it. Was making good time in DS3, was well on track to finish in time with a little bit of time to spare, and just utterly destroyed. It's just not the same to play it completely single player with no people interactions. Anyway, at the time they turned the servers off, they did not say how long it would take to resolve the problem. According to FromSoft, multiplayer servers for the Dark Souls series won't be back online until after February 25th due to the time needed to create a proper testing environment for each game. The studio promised to share more information as soon as it could. We reported on this, when it happened a couple of weeks ago, where they found this horrible vulnerability. Since it's all completely peer-to-peer servers and their network code is spaghetti at best, it allowed people to run executable code on other people's computers, which is really, really, really bad.
Yeah,
and
right.
Luckily, the people that found it first were some of the creators of the actual Dark Souls Blue Sentinel mod, which is the fan-made anti-cheat, because of how fucking bad Bandai Namco's been maintaining the P2P servers in Dark Souls. So, Yeah, that's just kind of a thing. Really, really hopeful that I know they're probably scrambling just to make sure that Elden Ring does not have this issue and everything else is on the back order, which is why we won't see it because they have to make sure that game works. But I'm still hoping that that game at least works when it comes out without these
Hopefully.
issues.
I would not be surprised if this affects thing. Do you think that this could actually delay it? Because this is huge. This is major. This is.
I feel like they would just release it anyway.
Just
and
with
I
the
feel like that
multiplayer turned off.
And I just feel like that would be a mistake. But who knows? Can they get away with just delaying it?
When does Elden Ring come out? The 28th?
I believe so. No, I think it's the 22nd.
Well, take a look at it. Okay, I got that. I have to know this real quick. Exactly when Elden Ring.
I'm pretty sure it's the 22nd. No, it's the 25th. We were both
25th.
wrong by 3 days.
So it's not next week. It's the week after. If they don't have this shit on lock by this Friday, I can see them delaying that game's launch by like 3 weeks.
That'd be crazy. That'd be completely ridiculous and absurd. But it would also make my gaming schedule so much easier.
This also isn't a minor issue, however, if you're allowing people to gain remote access to consoles and computers through your network. That is major lawsuit waiting to happen. Especially if you already know about it. So that is one of those things where they're like, we cannot get rid of this yet. They would push that back if they can't fix it. Something to consider for sure. All right, David, we got a few more stories here real quick. This one real fast I wanted to mention because I think we talked about this briefly last week based on previews. But now that the game actually came out, it turns out we were right. The executive producer of CrossfireX is apologizing for the state his game is in. Now, David, last year I dubbed 2021 the year of incompetence. And it seems to be carrying over into this year. Listen to this right here. My name is Soru Boo, or Mr. Boo as many refer to me as, and I'm the executive producer of CrossfireX. It is clear that we have inadvertently disappointed many of our players and fans that have stuck with us for a long time. You mean everything to us, and I feel that you deserve more than just a simple patch note, which is why I want to take this opportunity to personally apologize for the current state of the game. He then goes through and talks about some other upcoming issues that they're going to fix. I'm not going to go into all that here. I'm going to point out two things. One, CrossfireX currently is sitting at a Metacritic of 41 with a user score of 2.9. So that means critics and fans are savaging this game right here. And two, this one specific line from IGN's review about its multiplayer, which is currently ranked 2 out of 10 according to their score. The quote is, "It is not worth the price you pay and it's free to play." That is how busted this fucking game is. And what really hurts about this is that the single player part of this game was handled by Remedy.
Yes, it was done separately. We talked about that.
I have had concerns about Remedy being stretched too thin. And I think you're seeing that happening here. I am highly concerned when a small team gets spread out all over the place, because what happens is what you get with like Platinum. Where Platinum Games used to be very focused on a few titles here and there, and they used to be of decent quality. But now they just kind of take whatever work comes their way, and they'll have multiple games in development, and they're very scattershot when it comes to gameplay now, which is something I never expected to happen with Platinum. Remedy is now quickly going to find itself in that state if they're spread as thinly as this, and I'm highly, highly concerned about their future because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because of I don't want to see Alan Wake 2 go by the wayside. Also, we are in a climate of acquisitions. To go back to Platinum straight up said, "Hey, we're open to acquisition." Healthy companies don't go out to sell themselves unless it's a god-awful lot of money. They don't go looking for people to buy them.
Unless it's for $68 billion.
Unless it's for $68 billion.
Yeah.
I'm afraid Remedy might fall into that
see.
category, and I'm really worried about that. I don't want that to happen.
We don't really know, but you're right. It's the time, and the floodgates are open. Everybody's going to buy everybody, so no one is safe.
Whenever I hear of a flop like this, I get very nervous for anyone who made it at this point. David?
Speaking of flops, in another story, or a news story from TechSpot, Nintendo, a company, has thanked the government for giving somebody prison time. Nintendo says thank you after hacker Gary Bowser is given a 40-month sentence. The long-running saga of unfortunately named Nintendo hacker Gary Bowser has come to an end with a 40-month prison sentence. The team executive member, who is not related to Nintendo of America president Doug Bowser or the Mario antagonist, was charged with 2 piracy-related federal felonies for which Nintendo has publicly thanked authorities.
Now, David, this guy, if I recall, so we've touched on this
talked about this guy a few times. Yes,
this is the guy that was stupid enough to get caught doing it. He was actively selling hardware of these games on there, so he was making money off of there. He gets hammered. Didn't he also then immediately start selling it all again?
Yeah, I think that's what happened.
Okay, I'm not sure on that part.
He got in trouble, and then he kept getting in trouble. And we were originally supporting, like, the way that some of the first stories broke, it made it sound like he was like a small little, like, in his garage doing some hacks and making a little bit of money kind of guy. No. He made like millions of dollars.
Yeah. So
like this is like a shit ton of money doing this stuff.
This is one of those things I look at and kind of go, okay, I think Nintendo's got a case on this one.
Like, I don't know, because I don't really love the idea of like just people getting thrown in prison for 40 months because it doesn't really do anything. Like, it means he made some money, but not enough money to not go to prison. You know what I mean? Anyway, Bowser had been a member of the Team Exeter hacking group. The DOJ called him a prominent leader that had been creating and selling Nintendo hacking devices since at least 2013. These tools allowed buyers to circumvent security measures, enabling to play illegal ROMs on console handhelds such as the Switch, 3DS, and Nintendo Wii. I believe they were also selling like online cheating devices and like hacked games themselves. There was a whole bunch of stuff. I believe so
too. Yeah,
it's not all covered in this article though.
It was more than just this.
Definitely more than just this though. Bowser was arrested back in 2020 along with fellow Team Exeter member Max Lauren on 11 felony counts of piracy. In April last year, Nintendo of America launched a lawsuit against Bowser, asking for $2,500 for each traffic device and $150,000 for each copyright violation. He initially denied the charges, but changed his plea to guilty a few months later and was ordered to pay Nintendo $4.5 million. The U.S. government's prosecution argued that the team's executors' actions resulted in $65 million in losses for Nintendo and asked for 5 years imprisonment for Bowser. Minor side effect, things that were pirated don't actually lose your company any money because you weren't going to make that fucking money anyway. So I always have an issue with that argument any fucking time it comes up. The U.S. government's prosecution argued that Team Exeter's action resulted in $65 million in losses from Nintendo and asked for 5 years imprisonment. His defense said that he was the least culpable of the 3 arrested members and asked for 19 months, which would have him spend 3 months in prison given his time served. The U.S. District Court for the Western District of Washington sentenced him to 40 months. The DOJ also charged the other Team Executor members, Lauren of France and Yuning Chen of China, but neither are in custody. And there you go. If you are going to steal somebody's intellectual properties, make sure that it is not Nintendo or Disney.
This is one of those things.
How do you not just know that?
Yeah, this is one of those things where I don't.
They have all the money to destroy your life, and they will.
If he just had a site that had the ROMs on there, I'd be more sympathetic to this guy. But he was actively like selling and profiting off of this, which it makes it no longer as clear cut morally for me at that point. It's like, at that point you kind of are using someone else's IP to make money off of. You see what I'm saying? That said, there's some of the shit that really does need to get reworked out in American law, especially with like 40 months of jail time.
Yeah, I don't really love companies just being able to decide how much jail someone should get. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that bothers me a little bit.
I don't really love how much companies are people in the eyes of the law, because it seems really fucking backwards to me. But, you know, what do I know? I'm just
there are people who go to jail for more heinous crimes for significantly less jail time.
Yeah.
And this is one of those cases, what I bothered by specifically when it comes to the U.S. legal system, it's kind of the same thing that Ross Ulbricht got nailed for, where they don't hit you for one thing, they hit you for like 150 things of that one thing. Each one of them has like a 2-month charge on it, but they stack them all up.
Every single copyright violation and every single traffic device was a separate like count.
Yeah. And when they add them all up, you start getting these egregious prison sentences, like in the case of Ross Ulbricht. It's like 2 life sentences plus 40 years or some shit like that. The murder for hire thing aside, which we can go on indefinitely. But that's how you get these like 40 months for ROMs.
Mm.
Admittedly, this is more than ROMs, but there have been cases that have had like some weird jail time that seems cruel and unusual, to use the legal terminology here.
Well, I guess what we're really saying is, just in case you're wondering, we do sometimes shit on other countries, but America also fucked. Turns out.
However, while on that topic, since someone seemed to be so upset about us going off on Saudi Arabia last week, in the grand scheme of comparison, Saudi Arabia way more fucked up than America.
I don't.
Yeah.
Over time. I don't know which way it goes.
No.
Currently, definitely.
I'm not talking overtime because it's not fair. Because if you want to talk about overtime, then America's way better than the Roman Empire ever was. If that's how we're going to go down that route, I'm talking about in modernity. Saudi Arabia is way more fucked up than America, and I'm specifically bringing that up. We just put
people in prison for a really long time. They've got like dismemberment shit happening.
Yeah. And I'm mainly bringing this up because someone in the YouTube comments got pissy that we were calling out Saudi Arabia on their human rights abuses. And they're saying, well, what about America? It's like, yeah, America's done some fucked up shit. But comparatively speaking, Saudi Arabia, as Chad is saying, 13th century shit.
Yeah, that's real bad.
So the moral equivalency I don't necessarily care for. Anyways,
I would just love it for people to stop being assholes all the time. That would be great.
Yeah,
everybody could just stop being fucking assholes all the time.
David, so what you're telling me is we just get rid of all governments.
Yes.
Join me on this anarchist shit, because I've been going down the anarchist rabbit hole. Let me introduce you to some Ludwig von Mises. It's gonna be great.
I've been an anarchist since like 2008.
Have you? Have you? Have you?
I got a book. It's real good.
What book?
Want to read it?
Well, yeah. What's this book?
Remember.
What's this book?
I think it's for cooking.
Okay, you can't fucking tell me you got the anarchist cookbook and that you're an anarchist now. Come the fuck up.
No.
You want some anarchist shit? Read. You want it from both sides? I mean, read Emmett Goldman. I'm not going to go down this route. This is
not what we're about.
Yeah. Kind of excited right now though. Anyways, we got one news story before we wrap things up here, and this is via Engadget. Netflix is making a BioShock movie.
Man, that's not that exciting.
No, it's not. To the article itself. It looks like Netflix is heading to Rapture. The company says it's teaming up with 2K and 2K Interactive Film for a film adaptation of the BioShock series. No other details are available as of yet, but based on the Netflix image shared in its announcement, wouldn't be a surprise to see it tackling the first game. I just don't care about this because Netflix is a very hit and miss with their shit. For every Cobra Kai we also get Cowboy Bebop. So I am not looking at this at all.
I don't know. There's it's just more video game adaptations. We're gonna get a million of them. That's the time. Now's the time. We talked about it.
You know what's funny? I knew I shouldn't have brought that up in chat. Because now I'm seeing a bunch of people chime in about anarchism in chat. It's like, I want to address you. And if I was playing Hearts of Iron, I'd be addressing all of you. But Digital, Watermelon, Rocco, tune into a Hearts of Iron stream. We'll get into anarchy then. We'll create Ancapistan. It'll be great. David?
I think the point of government is to protect or help those that can't help themselves. Barring that, it shouldn't exist.
You're a fucking socialist.
If you can't function in that way, then what are you even for?
I don't even think it should do that.
You don't really think anything should happen.
No, I think a lot. David, it's going to be a long time before I can recreate Ancapistan properly, however, in Hearts of Iron. It's going to be at least probably next week because I've got so many things I got to play. Between now and then, however, we have other stuff coming out. So what is coming out in one of the worst? Because I'm trying to read chat. The things are going a mile a minute here. I can't do this thing properly. Just tell me what's coming out this week.
You'll be fine. Unless you're trying to play all of these games, because it is officially, well, it's been fucking crazy season, and it continues this week. First up, something you are already playing, my friend, Infernax.
Good.
Every fucking thing. If it's a thing that plays games, it plays it. provided it's not a Mac or a Vita.
I can't say it's great, but it is good.
It's a 2D action RPG that's got Castlevania vibes and some rad-ass music. For sure. Take a look. Or watch this other guy play it. He's done it. Heart of the Woods hits both the PlayStations. This is a dark fantasy visual novel filled with magic fairies and a ghost girl. I'm not big on visual novels, but I know a bunch of people love these games, so take a look if you're looking for something that you mostly read. River City
when I saw
Girls.
That title, by the way, that is not what I expected it to be. I saw Heart of the Woods. I'm like, okay, it's probably some like generic horror game.
I don't know. You just send me a list, bro. I just look them up. River City Girls 0 hits Switch. This is a fucking amazing video game it's an old school 2D beat 'em up that is fantastic. It's just so damn good. Solo, 2-player co-op. If you like walking to the right and beating the shit out of bad guys, and it's been a minute since you've done that, and for some reason you didn't play it anywhere else, River City Girls 0 on Switch.
Which reminds me, by the way, Shredder's Revenge should be here soon.
Yes, I'm so excited for that game. Dynasty Warriors 9 Empires hits the PlayStations, Xboxes, and Switch. This has been out on Steam for a while, and it does not have positive reviews. It's the human drama of the Three Kingdoms in a way only Empires can provide. Basically, every Dynasty Warriors themed game since like 8 has been not great, and I don't really know what that series is doing. If you want to play a Muso game, play one of the not these branded ones, and if you want to play a strategy game, play literally anything else. King of Fighters 15 comes out this week, and I'm so fucking excited for this game.
I swear this game came out like a month and a half ago.
It absolutely did not. You're stupid and dumb, and no one likes your opinion on fighting games. PS5, PS4,
one of
Xbox.
those is right.
Xbox is all that, and the computer. You can play King of Fighters 15. There's way the fuck more than 15, Watermelon. This is like, I don't know. I don't know if you have to count Art of Fighting and Sam Show and all that other shit, but yeah, there's a lot of King of Fighters, and they're great. They used to be named with years, a la Madden. And then they said, screw that. And they put numbers on the end because this game series is fantastic.
Well, they realized they weren't cranking them out once a year. And that naming convention falls by the wayside. Because if you have if you have like KOF 05 and then KOF 13, people start wondering where the ones in the between were.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think, was it 2000? What's the last one?
It's been a hot minute since there's
2001?
been a King of Fighters.
And then it jumped to 11. I think that's what it was. It was either 2000, 2001, and then it went to 11.
Yeah, they had to stop because this would be KOF of 2008. So it sounds like it was 2007 when they stopped.
There you go. I'll be playing that game. If you don't like fighting games, you probably won't like that. But if you do like fighting games, you probably will. And you're probably already looking forward to this anyway because it's King of Fighters. Total War Warhammer 3 hits this week, which is for people that don't like fighting games.
I'm so excited for this.
And some of us that do as well. Turn-based strategy in the Warhammer universe. I know you're going to play this.
I'm also so know deep that this up Games Workshop ass. I can't not play this.
Yeah, I also know that this is on Game Pass. So if you want to play it at home, you could do that with your Game Pass subscription.
Yeah, I'll be streaming this likely Thursday.
Voice of the Cards, The Forsaken Maiden hits PlayStation, Switch, and PC. This is the second of those like Square Enix RPG card battlers, which looks really fucking awesome. And I never got to play the first one, but I think it's kind of cool. So every element in the game is presented entirely through cards. So it plays out kind of like a tabletop RPG, but it's all cards. And it looks very stylish.
It makes more sense if you take a look at it. There's strong Hand of Fate vibes to this, and I loved Hand of Fate 1 and 2. I am surprised that there's a sequel to this game, because I remember that it was called the Dragon Wars or something like that.
I feel like it
just
came out, too. Ago. I feel like it was probably a year or two ago, because time is irrelevant.
No, this literally was only a couple months ago when the first one came out. I'm shocked that, that the second one come out right now.
Maybe it's episodic, and we just don't pay that much attention.
Or they're only like 5 or 6 hours long. That could also be a thing. I don't know. I haven't played it, but I want to.
Well, take a look. Super Toy Cars Off-Road hits all the Xboxes and PC. This is an old school split-screen arcade racer where you're controlling miniature off-road cars that speed through amazing tracks, populated with super-sized everyday objects. I feel like we've had a couple of these like toy-sized car racing games, and this is, I guess, the super off-road to that one Hot Wheels. I guess that would be like a Rush game.
This genre peaked with the Nintendo with Micro Machines on those old gold cartridges that you had to toggle switch on the back. They didn't need to make any more after that, so I have no interest in these anymore.
I mean, you don't like racing games in general.
Hey, I like
Last but
Burnout.
absolutely not least is at least probably the biggest PlayStation game that actually comes out this year. And I say actually because I think the other one might not. Horizon Forbidden West drops on both, or I guess all three PlayStations, PS4, PS4 Pro, and the PS5 this week. Do I need to explain this game, Steven?
No.
Okay, because it's fucking huge. Horizon Zero Dawn is incredible and can be played on PC. And if you never got around to it, you probably should because it's great.
It's
and this
real
is a
good.
sequel, which I hear has a lot of like sameness and similarness, but also it's just bigger and better and stylish and amazing. And I don't know, Horizon was so good. I can't imagine this game's going to be bad. I love
Horizon Zero Dawn is to date one of two games that I have platinum. I am looking forward
Horizon
to
Zero
playing...
Dawn was robbed the year it came out of all awards because it came out the same year Breath of the Wild did.
Agreed.
And it has no weapon degradation at all.
I am highly concerned about Forbidden West, not from a gameplay standard or anything like that, but because Horizon Zero Dawn hit me emotionally in two big scenes because they deal with specific things that always get me rather like worked up. The destruction of knowledge being one of them. And I'm not going to get into big spoilers for Horizon or anything like that, or Zero Dawn rather, but they talk about that in that game, and there's some shit that goes down that actually got me heated.
It's also one of the cooler post-apocalyptic worlds that I've ever been in.
Yeah,
Going through and finding like the remnants of places, and it's not like the Fallout where it looks like things got blown up like 20 minutes ago and somehow are still standing. It's been a really long time, and nature has completely taken everything over, and you just kind of see the remnants that there used to be something else here.
It is a unique take on a genre that has been done to death.
Yep. And it's a fantastic open world video game that was, of course, too big, and I went back for the
bigger.
DLC.
I'm hearing reports that people are like 50 or 60 hours into this already and still are halfway through the map.
That's insane. I don't think I have that kind of time.
No, that is too big at that point, unfortunately. David, that does it for new releases, which means that also does it for the show as well. This has been GamePoints episode 298. And if you liked what you saw here and you want to support the stream, you know what to do. Likes, bits, follows, subscribes, all that good stuff. There's a Twitter you can follow the show at GamePointsPC. Myself, Stephen Brown at CapitalistPig21, and David there at @Satori. If you want to be part of the greater Game Points community, you can join our Discord, link provided down there below somewhere with all these stories that we talked about today. And of course, I will be streaming random things throughout the week. There will be a Hearts of Iron stream sooner or later, so we could talk about making Ancapistan again for all of you in chat who were talking about that. And other things that are yet to be determined as well. Actually, one of them on Wednesday. I can't tell you what it is yet, but I will be streaming that. A little bit of a departure for the channel. But definitely something I do enjoy playing. We will also be playing Forbidden West next week, as well as something else, and I don't remember what, but we'll worry about that next week. Anyways, thank you all for showing up, and until next week, we're out of here.